Hi, this is Hart, and this is a video series called Choosing the Best Trees. We want to talk about how to choose the best trees and why. In the first couple of videos, we talked about, what are the benefits of trees? Trees cool the air, trees clean the air, trees absorb rainfall and keep it from running too quickly into our waterways. Thus, they hold back polluted water from the waterways. And trees, you have enough trees in a region, they can even increase the amount of rainfall in a region because trees absorb that water and let it evaporate back into the atmosphere. That increases the amount of rainfall that we get, and that's a good thing. So trees have many benefits. Trees also absorb carbon from the atmosphere. If we're concerned about climate change, and if we think that is a function of the amount of carbon dioxide is in the atmosphere, then we need as many trees as we can get. Not just trees, but all plants, but trees, at least in Kentucky, at least in the eastern hardwood forest, trees are the backbone of the plant community. Trees are the backbone of the ecosystem. So in this video, we're going to talk about a few examples of, we're talking about what are the best trees and why. And I assert that the best trees are the best trees because they support our local ecosystems. That's why native plants are important. Native plants are not important by virtue of the fact that they've been here tens of thousands of years. They're important by virtue of the fact that they support wildlife, they support ecosystems. Because what we've done in America is we have come in and we have broken all the food chains. And people talk about this or that cause for an animal becoming endangered or extinct, and we forget that animals need food. And that starts with native plants. Let's talk. Okay, how to choose the best trees to plant. Now, I'm going to share with you something that was top secret prior to about 3 years ago, and that is the Native Plant Finder on the National Wildlife Federation website. The Native Plant Finder is how to choose the best trees and plants for your locality. Go to the Native Plant Finder, put in your zip code, and that's how you know what are the best trees and plants for your locality. For example, I'm going to go through a few of them here. In Jefferson County, my zip code, my county, type in the zip code, it gives you the same results for any zip code within a county. My county, oaks are number 1. Now, they have to be native oaks, but plums and cherries are number 2. These are all genuses. Each one of these groups is a genus, not a species, but a genus. So within the genus, there are native and non-natives. It's important to choose the natives. Number 3 is willow. Number 4 is birch. Number 5 is maple. Not Norway maple, which is non-native and invasive, but sugar maple and water maple, that kind of thing. Hickory and pecan is a genus called Carya. That's number 6. Number 7 is aspens and cottonwoods. Number 8 is apple and crabapple. All apples are non-native. Some crabapples are non-native. You want native crabapples, such as sweet crabapple is an example of a native apple. So number 9, cranberry and blueberry. There are non-native cranberries and blueberries. We want to choose the natives. An example of a native native blueberry is the Blue Ridge blueberry is an example of a native. Number 10, pine. Don't have a list of native pines in front of me, but I'm sure white pine is one of the native pines. I'm also sure that there are non-native pines, so make sure you're choosing a native. So let's talk about why. So these are the top 10 best trees to choose, but why? Why are they the best? Well, because they do the best job of supporting our local ecosystem, starting with the leaf-eating insects. So, we know that food chains are herbivores, carnivores, decomposers, or plants, herbivores, carnivores, decomposers. But there's an important class of herbivores, the leaf eaters, which include caterpillars. We know a lot about caterpillars. We can identify them, we can see them, we know what caterpillars eat. And because we know what caterpillars eat, a ranking of the trees that caterpillars eat most in your county, in your zip code, is the best way to know how to feed the food chain. Because if we're going to feed the food chain, we have to feed the leaf-eating insects. We don't know about all leaf-eating insects, but we do know a lot about caterpillars. So for example, oaks are number one because they feed caterpillars such as the spun-glass oak slug. Plums and cherries are number two because oaks support 346 different species. Plums and these numbers have changed a little bit. I'm going to give you some updated numbers, but these will work for now. Plums and cherries support 290 species of caterpillars, including the coral hairstreak. Willows support 239 species of caterpillars, including the connected dagger moth. Now, the connected dagger moth, for example, is going to have different choices for what it can eat. Some caterpillars have different choices, some don't, but one thing's for sure, they are all specialists. They can only eat like 2% out of all the plant genuses out there. They can only eat about, at most, 2 or 3%. Caterpillars can't just eat anything. Leaf eaters can't just eat anything. That's why it's important for us to have a variety of native plants. A few more examples. Birch, including a native birch is a gray birch or a river birch. It supports the laurel sphinx moth, meaning the laurel sphinx moth can eat its leaves, but it can't eat maple leaves. It can't eat oak leaves. So it has some narrow choices. It's like if you were to go into a cafeteria and you can only eat 10% of what they have on the menu, and it just so happens that that day they don't have your 10%, you go hungry. So that's the situation our caterpillars are in today. It's very important that we fix this problem, because if we take away what caterpillars eat, we've broken the food chain, and we have broken many food chains. A couple more examples. The hickories, such as the shagbark hickory, it supports the purple-crested slug. Aspens and cottonwoods, such as swamp cottonwood, supports the locust. Okay, I'll have to skip that. Can't read my writing. Crabapples support an Abbott sphinx moth. Cranberries support a snowberry clearwing moth. Now, snowberry clearwing moth can also eat coral honeysuckle. So it has different choices, but it can't just eat anything. So that's why, as a group, leaf-eating insects are have diverse needs, and we need to provide for those diverse needs. We need to put back the native plants that were here before European settlement. We can do this, and we need to do this. Have to save more for the next video. Thanks.